No, this is very interesting. Joe Warmington, front page of the Toronto Sun today, give a plug to our friend, the Scrawler, proving that not everybody in the mainstream media is despicable. Joe Warmington is one of the best human beings I know. And he had a great story where he found out that there was a resolution that was passed by the Halton District School Board. That's where this teacher is employed. And it says this, quote, "Be it resolved that the Director of Education, Curtis Innes, develop a professionalism policy which outlines the HDSB's expectations of all staff members, including the requirement to maintain appropriate and professional standards of dress and decorum in the classroom," end quote. Well, isn't that something? Now, there's 2 points here, Tamara. They already had some sort of investigation, and the recommendation by their employee who was the head of it was that they could countervene human rights code by enforcing a dress code, which to me is absolutely nonsensical and ludicrous. They have a dress code for the students, for the minors who go to the Halton District School Board schools. So how can a dress code for adults be contrary to human rights legislation, yet a dress code for children is not? Furthermore, in October, this idiotic board, they did bring in a dress code, for Halloween, including the fact that if you're a girl, you are forbidden to dress as a boy, and a boy is forbidden to dress as a girl on this one day, October 31st, Tamara, where pretty much anything goes, right? So you can have a dress. So think about this. On that one day, Halloween, it is somehow transphobic for a boy to pretend he's a girl and vice versa. But you can have this shop teacher dress as a grotesque caricature of a woman 365 days a year. Again, it doesn't make sense. But here is the rub, Tamara. Joe ends his story with a quote from Curtis Innes. I forgot to give his gender pronouns, he, him. And this is what he says, quote, "The HDSB's commitment to human rights remains rooted in our core values and commitment to each and every student and staff who identifies as a member of an underserved and underrepresented group, and our approach is informed by opinions from leading employment law firms and human rights and equity advisors. This commitment and approach will continue to be applied as the HDSB looks to fulfill this motion," end quote. So, Tamara, this guy, the Director of Education, he's throwing the entire bunch of trustees and other school board members under the bus. He's talking about, showing empathy for someone who is allegedly transgender, because as we've stated before on this show, I don't believe he is. I think if you were doing a genuine male to female transition, the last thing you are doing is trying to stand out as a grotesque caricature of a woman, like a drag queen performer. I bet you, Tamara, we've been in, office buildings, malls, arenas, where there's been a trans individual, and we had no idea that that person used to be the opposite sex. And that is, I think, the goal, is to blend in with the other sex. That's not happening here. So it's one of two things. He is punking the board, he is anti-woke, and he's taking the piss out of them, which in certain respects, he's a hero. Or option two, and this is what I believe is going on, he is a sexual pervert. He is someone who suffers from autogenophilia, which is, in that community of men going to female. Not all of them, but a large percentage actually get sexually aroused by the clothing of women, by the props of women, i.e. those fake breasts that Lemieux wears. And here's the thing. For this school board not to investigate this, Tamara, based on the presumption they might be perceived as transphobic. This is a grotesque lack of due diligence, especially given that this guy is in front of minors every day. It is absolutely disgraceful. And by the way, when Garth Innes talks about employment, leading employment law firms, I can tell you Howard Levitt, one of the top labor lawyers in Canada, I think back in November, penned a piece in the National Post where he called out the HDSB. He said it is absolutely false that you cannot have a dress code for staff even in a unionized environment, Tamara. So what's going on here? What do you think's going on here?
Well, I think it lends to your second point, is that there is some very strange fetish, really voyeuristic fetish happening with this individual. And you have a board that is so afraid to be transphobic that they are not protecting what's in the best interest of the children and the minors attending the schools, but rather this freaky, fetished out impersonator.